BookTube, this is Caitlin Bandy and this is my channel BandysBooks, and today we are here on a Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's a Tag Tuesday. We're going to be doing the currently reading tag. This is an older tag. It was originally made by Charlie Ray and it's been around for like, I don't know, 10 plus years, and it recently had a resurgence. It was brought back to life by Micah Cummins, and I've recently seen it on a couple different channels. I saw it on MJ from Reading This Life and Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads. I enjoyed both of their versions and I thought I would do my own version. Before we jump into it, I guess there's a thing about like telling people what you're drinking. So this morning I'm drinking Four Sigmatics Adaptogen Blend coffee. This is a mix of regular coffee with adaptogenic mushrooms. And the reason that I'm drinking that is because supposedly adaptogenic plants and herbs and things help with inflammation. I deal with chronic illness that causes massive inflammation, so I've been testing this out to see if it helps. So far so good, and actually it tastes surprisingly good for it being a mushroom-based coffee. Like when I first heard about that, I was like, oh, that sounds terrible, but it's really not bad. The coffee that's in it kind of overpowers any mushroom taste, and really the mushrooms just kind of taste earthy. All right, so now that you know more about my beverage than you ever wanted to know in your life, let's get into this tag. There's some fun questions here. This is mostly about reading habits. So question 1, how many books do you read at once? I am a maniac. I usually have 3, sometimes even 4 books going at the same time. So I usually have 2 books that I'm physically reading, 1 book that I'm listening to audiobook, sometimes 2 books that I'm listening to on audiobook. I like a lot of variety. I am somebody that is easily distracted. Like I tend to be able to focus really hard on something for a period of time, but then I need to like switch it up to keep myself interested. So by having a variety of books that I have going at any one time, it kind of helps me to stay invested in all of them. Question 2, if you're reading more than 1 book at a time, how do you decide when to switch to the other book? Okay, so I don't know that I decide. I think like the theory on this question is that maybe you read 100 pages of one book, then you read 100 pages of another book. I'm not like that. I let chaos reign. I switch when I feel like I need to switch. If something is a little stale, I'm not vibing with a book. So I'm also like really big on sometimes books like that we don't enjoy aren't necessarily bad books, but we're just reading them at the wrong point in life. So sometimes, you know, if I'm having a rough day and I'm listening to a sad book or reading a sad book, I might put that aside in favor of something like a little more fantasy or sci-fi where I can kind of suspend current woes and just like immerse myself in a fantasy world, and that helps. So I think that it just depends like how I feel for the day. There's no set concrete schedule for when I switch between one book and the other. 3, do you ever switch bookmarks when you're partway through a book? That's assuming I use bookmarks. I don't use bookmarks as much as I should, which is a shame because I have so many beautiful bookmarks. My lovely friend Taylor over at Instagram at Bell's Castle Library makes custom bookmarks, and she sent me so many beautiful ones. I've ordered a couple. She even made me a custom one with my logo on it, which is so freaking cool. And then my friend Anna at Sustainable Reader also sent me some really cool custom bookmarks. I have some bookmarks my mom made. I have a bunch of bookmarks from Book of the Month, bookshops. Like I have stacks on stacks of bookmarks, and I really don't use them as much as I should. I am one of those terrible people that tends to just use my dust jacket, unless it's like a really big chunky book and the dust jacket won't work. And then I'm more likely to just pick up like a pen or a piece of paper or something and jam it in there. I've been trying to get better at using my bookmarks. So I have, well, I can just show you. I have all of my bookmarks right here. So the theory is that, you know, I keep them close by. So I always have one that I can grab. And then over in my reading nook in my living room, which you may or may not have seen in other books, I actually have a flower pot that I've converted into a bookmark holder. And so I put a bunch of my lovely bookmarks over there as well. So that way there's always a bookmark that's accessible, like close by to where I'm reading. I'm still not the best at using them. I think like I said in the last question, I kind of tend to let chaos reign. So I don't have like a dedication to a specific place marker at any point in a book. Question number 4, where do you keep the books you're currently reading? This is why we're doing this video in here. So this is my TBR for the month. I've explained this probably in the very beginning of my channel, but for anyone that's new, this is the TBR that I have for the month. I every month pick out like 20 or so books that I want to read in the month, and I put them up here above my bed so that they're easily accessible. The 2 books that are stacked in the corner there are the 2 books that I am currently working my way through, and that's usually how I do it because I sleep on the side of the bed. I'm able to just reach up and grab whatever I'm reading, and then it helps me to feel encouraged to work my way through the books that I've picked out, because I do have books everywhere in my house. If you're interested in seeing more of how I organize my books, you can look up here. I just did a recent book organization video that really shows you in detail where my books are throughout the house. Question 5, what time of day do you spend the most time reading? I think it depends on the day, honestly. I guess if they're looking for an average answer, probably in the evening. I really enjoy, especially on my work days, because I do work on my feet. I'm a chef for a living, so I'm standing, moving, lifting, like a very physical job. I do really enjoy taking a hot bath and reading, like at the end of a work day, to kind of help ease my muscles at the end of the day, help cut down on some inflammation, reduce pain, that kind of stuff. And then on my days off, so like Monday, Tuesday, when I have my house to myself, Oz is off at work, it's quiet, I read all day long if I can. I tend to, get some social media stuff done, both for Bookstagram and BookTube, but then I might have a whole afternoon, and if I'm in a good book, I'll just sit there and read it the whole time. I really, really honestly love the best reading in the afternoon. It's just that I'm typically at work in the afternoon, so I don't get to read that time as much. Question 6, how long do you typically read for in one go? Just depends. I can easily sit all day and read. Like if I'm in a really good book and I'm super invested and my mind is like focused on it, I could 100% sit for 8-10 hours and read the whole book. If I'm not as invested in the book, maybe an hour at a time, maybe 2. It depends, time, concentration, how my body's feeling. Like if I'm super fatigued, sometimes it's hard for me to sit and read and like focus on the words. If I'm, on a busy day, I might only have a half hour. But yeah, I mean, for a book that I really love, I could read nonstop until it's done. Question number 7, do you read hardcovers with the dust jacket on? Yes, I am a barbarian. I leave my dust jacket on my book and read it that way. I don't know why. I guess it seems like a lot of work to take the dust jacket off, and it's convenient for marking my place. I just use the fold on the inside of the dust jacket for, my spot in my book if I don't have a bookmark or a paper or a pen or whatever handy. Number 8, which position do you normally like to read in? I tend to lie down. I am a big fan of laying down in my bed, laying down on the couch, or I have a reclining chair in my little reading nook, which reclines all the way back and kicks my feet up. I find that very comfortable and relaxing, and especially after work, like I need to elevate my legs and let them rest, let some of the lactic acid flow out. So I kind of like tag team, resting my legs with reading. I put them up and elevate and relax with my book. But I also like to lay on my stomach and read as well. So sometimes like I'll flip over and read, or my side. I'm not super particular. I guess I'm like a multi-position kind of person. I would say probably the primary though is laying back and reading. Number 9, do you take the books you're currently reading with you everywhere you go? Yeah, for the most part. I don't take them to work because I typically don't have time to read at work, and kitchens are greasy and messy, and I don't want to destroy my books in that way. But I do have an audiobook that I listen to at work usually. Typically I like to listen to one when I have time at work. For my physical books, like anything non-work related, yes. Like if you see any of our camping vlogs, I always bring like 10 books with me because, who knows how much I'm gonna be able to read, and apparently 10 books is appropriate for 2 days of vacation. Like if I'm going out to lunch or I'm going somewhere where I might have to wait, I always bring my book. I pretty much, like again, with the exception of work, pretty much always have a book with me. And question 10, how often do you update your progress in the book you're currently reading on Goodreads? Never. I do not use Goodreads regularly. I should probably be better at it than I am. I actually use 3 different reviewing sites. So I use Goodreads, Readerly, and Storygraph. All three have a very different format, and some of them are easier than others. I tend to update regularly on Readerly. Like, as soon as I finish a book, I update it, because Readerly is like just a short snippet. You're writing like 2 or 3 sentences about a book as opposed to like an entire review. And so that makes it easier for me to keep up with. I really love Storygraph the most out of the 3 because of the metrics that it provides. Like, you have graphs and you can see like genre breakdowns and page breakdowns and like format breakdowns and, you know, month by month breakdowns. It's a really cool setup and design. And so I probably update that the second most. But it also requires like more detailed input. You know, it asks a lot of questions about like plot driven, character driven, trigger warnings, it asks for review. Like, there's a lot of information to input. So I'm a little slower at getting that done. And then Goodreads, for me, like, I kind of have Goodreads out of nostalgia, but for me, it's probably the least useful reviewing site because it's just a straight up review. And unfortunately, like, reviews are very subjective. You know, what I find interesting, you might not find as interesting. So I don't know. I like Goodreads. Like, I'm not against it. I get a ton of giveaways. I'm like really religious about entering their giveaways, and I've won so many cool books from them, and I do still use it, but I tend to like catch up a month at a time, basically. So instead of inputting information regularly into it, I go like at the end of the month, okay, here's all the books I've read, let me throw in reviews and stuff. And then probably before the end of the year, I'll do like a mad dash to try to catch up all the books that are missing that I haven't input yet. So I've actually been working on catching up Goodreads, Readerly, and Storygraph recently because I wasn't the best at putting up reviews in the beginning of the year. So hopefully by the end of this year, it'll all be up to date with everything I've read this year. All right, so the last prompt on this tag is to tag some people. I'm not always the best at picking out people to tag. I'm going to go ahead and tag Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. That is a channel I have been absolutely loving lately. If you do not follow Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, you absolutely should be. He does the best reviews and is so clever and funny. Just totally a joy to watch. So that's my tag for this, and if, like I said, you're not following him, go check him out now. So I think that's everything for this tag. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and comment down below what you're currently reading. If you're not already subscribed, you know where the subscribe button is. Make sure you click that so you can see me again in future videos. And again, thank you for joining. I'm Caitlin Bandy. This is my channel, Bandy's Books. We'll see you next time. Bye.